Well, today I'm going to do the power steering pump. I'm going to replace it. And this is a 2004 Mustang. This should work for anywhere from 1994 to 2004. Number one, I'm going to disconnect the negative battery cable just for safety purposes. Two, I'm going to loosen the serpentine belt, let it hang loose. It's also called the drive belt. Number three, I'm going to disconnect the fluid return and pressure hoses from the power steering pump and drain them to a pan I have under the car. And I'm going to plug the lines to keep the blowing dirt out of them. Number four, I'm going to remove the pulley with the tool that I purchased, had in stock. You can also go and rent these from AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever. They're not very expensive if you want to buy one. And it takes a special tool to pull the pulley off and to also put it back on. So just remember, you will need this tool. Then I'm going to remove the pump bolts and the pump, and to do that you have to pull the pulley off because the bolts are behind the pulley. Now on 4.6 liter, you will remove the pulley with the pump off the vehicle. You can actually jack the vehicle up, take the pump loose, and go put it on a vise and do that. But on the 3.8, 3.9, 5.0, you remove those when they're on the vehicle because, like I said, the pulley is behind, the pump bolts are behind the pulley. And then I'm going to install it in reverse order using the install pulley from the toolkit. Then I'm going to fill it, check it for leaks, and then go back and forth with the steering wheel about 12, 13 times and get all the air bubbles out. And I've found it easier to do that when I have the vehicle front up off the ground, but that's not necessary. Okay, I have my battery cable disconnected, just a little 1/2 inch wrench will do that. The noise you hear in the background is a hen laying eggs. I got a noisy hen in case you get annoyed by her. And over here, or down there, is the serpentine belt tensioner pulley, and I need to loosen the belt by going up with the pulley, taking the tension off, and there's a spot in it right, I believe I can almost see it, right down here where a 3/8 inch ratchet wrench will fit exactly into that, but the head gets in the way of the belt, so I might have to put an extension on that wrench. I've got a pretty small ratchet here, and this is a pretty tight pulley. I put an extension on the ratchet, and you can see that it can be done like that, but it's going to take a lot of force, and you might want to actually put a little maybe cheater bar on the end of your ratchet. They also make a tool which you can get if you're renting tools that's designed with some length to it, and it looks again like I'll have to use a little extension. The shorter extension you can find, probably the better. This one's a little bit long, and then you can take the tool, which is a long one, and you hold it with one hand and slip the belt off with the other. Some of your tensioners do not have this little gap in there for your wrench, and you may be able to take your ratchet and your socket and go over the bolt and go like that and pull it up. Now I can get to the pump pulley, but I think I want to take the lines loose in the back. Okay, down here, you can probably see it, is a little clamp right there, and it holds the return line on, and I just have to squeeze the two ears together on it and it will compress, and I can pull the line right off. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I move that clip around a little bit. You can see it better now. I can get a pair of pliers on it easier too, and just going to take it loose and pull that hose off. Okay, the next line to take off will be the pressure line right there, and that is an 18 millimeter, or you can get it with a small crescent wrench if you don't have an 18 millimeter. And I'm going to go ahead and use the crescent wrench and come in from the back side here. It's not overly tight. I'm going to clean that fitting with some carburetor cleaner right now. The reason I cleaned that line is I'm going to put it inside of a glove to protect it from any kind of dust that might want to get in it. Okay. That line is loose. I put a glove over it so it'll be protected. My bottom line has to get a glove as well, but it's still draining, so I'm going to let it go for the moment. Alright, now that both lines are loose, it's time to use the tool to pull the pulley off. Anyway, I'm going to measure the gap where my finger is. Maybe. There's a good chance that this pulley will go on just so far and it'll automatically set itself to the exact position so that your serpentine belt, when it goes around it, is all lined up with all the other pulleys. See? So you want to make sure that this gap is not too little and not too big, just right. Now I have my rebuilt pump and my old pulley kit here. I'm going to need this piece here, these pieces here, and this piece here, and this piece here. I cleaned the inside hole here that is threaded with some carb cleaner, and then I lubricated it with some lubricant. That's what you see around here. Alright, what I need to do is assemble the pulley pieces. Put this in here like this. I need to drop this little plunger piece in down the center of that. And the real fun part is positioning these little pieces and all of it together around the pulley itself. And there's a little metal piece that goes over to hold it all together like that. And I'm going to screw this in. Until I get some sort of tension on it. Now what I want to do is hold this piece here with a wrench and turn this shaft here, and as it screws in, it's going to pull everything back this way, and since this is all attached to the pulley should come off. I'm going to be using a 13/16 to hold the nut, and I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch socket on this part here. Okay, 1/2 inch socket, 13/16 on the nut. Let's see here. You get some tension on this there. You can see that it gets much more solid. So you hold this one and turn this one. Yeah. And boy, can I feel it. I decided to go with a larger ratchet wrench. A little more leverage. Suppose I could have put a small cheater pipe on my little one. I can actually feel it pulling off. If you got a long ratchet wrench, that makes it a lot easier. It's actually coming loose. I can see my gap increasing over here. It's a tedious process. And just take her on out. Okay, now I can get to these bolts here, and the pump should come right out. I'll give you the torque on these when I put them back. 15 millimeters seems to fit these bolts pretty good. The 15 millimeter. Bolt number 3. There you go. Now this pump is going to come out from the back and up past the brake cylinder, and there it is. I bought a power steering filter. New pump, new filter, new fluid. Anyway, the arrow goes towards the pump. This kit comes with all the clamps and what have yous. Anyway, I just have to go and cut the hose back, put the filter in with the clamps, put the other piece of hose on this end, and good to go. It goes to the pump. This is what the filter looks like assembled. Just want to make sure the arrow is pointing towards the pump, and it is. Okay, now here's the new pump. I got one with a cap and all, so I'll have to remove this fitting here. It's just a block, and then it's also got a plug back here. Set it back in its spot. Can't see that one. The only torque specs I could find on these bolts is 25 foot-pounds. They felt about 25 to 30 when I was taking them off. Whoops. Didn't do that. 25 don't hardly feel like enough. Yeah, it might have been 25. But I'm going to put them on a little tighter and put them back on about as tight as you think you got them off. Okay, now that I got these bolts tightened on there, I think I'm going to go and put this pulley back on. I'll be using a different toolkit to install this pulley on the shaft. This is it, comes with instructions. I was missing a bolt in the other one, and it was getting pretty old. I was fighting it, wasn't working. So I got this newer one. I'll leave a link in the description under tools I use. And I'll be using this piece right here to install the pulley with. I'll be putting a little light lubricant on the shaft here. Never hurts to loosen it up some. I'll go ahead and press the pulley on and get it started a little bit by hand. Screw the shaft into the pulley shaft as far as it will go. You want it to bottom out. Okay. Now I turn this all the way. And theoretically hold this and tighten this. 9/16 there. And I believe 14 there. See if this thing will hold itself against the battery. I believe I'm good to go. And she's right there where she should be, right flush with the end. I believe that's right where I started, or pretty darn close. So now what I need to do is hook up my hoses. So remember to take the plastic cap that's on the end of this tube off. Okay, got the power steering hoses connected. This top one, the pressure hose, uses a little nylon O-ring that I had to heat up in some boiling water, cup in the microwave, dump it in there and bring it out here and slide it up over. I actually got to kind of weasel it up over the threads. This hose does not get really tight for some reason. It is still flexible, and we'll see if it leaks or not. They make two different sizes of these O-rings, and this one seemed to be the right size. But if you read the description and what tools I use and the parts I use, I will post both sizes of O-rings. It says steering fluid, but I'll tell you that it is not power steering fluid. The owner's manual calls for Dexron 3, Dexron 2, one of those Dexron numbers. But anyway, Dexron is what's going in there. It's Dexron ATF. And I got it kind of full. It doesn't take much, but I'll fix it. I believe I lost some out of the steering rack, so I believe this will go down some. If it's too much, I'll take a turkey baster and get some out of it, or a different tool. No, you can't help. You can't help. Cat wants to help all the time. Don't know what to do with the cat. No. Okay, what I need to do is start it up, let it warm up, turn the steering wheel from side to side, 6, 8, 9, 10 turns, whatever. Don't go all the way to the ends, just side to side. Keep them bottoming out on each side, and as soon as all the bubbles disappear inside here, it should quiet down. We'll see. Use my little siphoning tool to get that level down a little bit, and I believe it's pretty good. Power steering nice and quiet. There's what it was. This repair is done. Thank you all for watching and subscribing. Hope all your repairs go well. Until the next video, this is Cars, Trucks, and Detours, aka Steve AZ 711.